Containment as a, well, I say as a policy now, because when you talk about the gains of security so far in the last how many years, what we've been told is that, well, we've been able to contain it to a certain part of the country and we're fighting it there, and but it would seem that this now has shattered whatever it is that, whatever gains that might have been made. How do we begin to reassure Nigerians that it is okay, or is it not okay at all?
Really, it is okay. What we need is proper direction. What we need is the right heads in the right places. What do I mean? Is it okay?
I mean, are you really saying that you do feel safe?
No, I'll explain it to you now. You talked about containment.
Yes.
What I mean by it is okay is all we need, resource, human and material and financial, are with us. All we have to do is to get a bit objective. There are three ways to look at this. The first is when we talk about containment. Yes, agreed. One or two incidents up and down there, they've done a good job of catching people here, arresting people there. But when you measure that vis-a-vis the frequency with which these attacks come up and the number of people that are lost, not talking about material, you find out that whenever they occur, they rubbish whatever was achieved.
Always the case.
Yes. Now when it comes to containment again, we go back to Nyanya. Let's draw antecedents from the Kano car park where that bomb exploded last year. You see, the police addressed it yesterday, and I had a senior police officer say a red alert situation persists in Abuja. I want to opine here that that red alert situation should be pre, not post occurrence. You see, a red alert situation is the highest form of alert you get. It actually starts from green to blue to yellow to orange to red. Now, if you went into a park and you saw that the way they're doing things here is not wholesome, you label that park any of these colors. Probably you place it on yellow and tell people you may want to think twice about taking a bus there.
You could even direct the management to strategize in terms of
because
how they run the place.
Probably the chief security officer of the park hasn't done X, Y, Z, which we recommended, or this and that has not been installed, which we recommended, drawing our experiences from Kano. So please, you may even shut down the park. At the point you are placing a park on red alert, you are labeling that area red alert zone. It's a no-go area. It means the terrorist threat probability there is severe. Not after the attack you say you are placing all troops on red alert. We are misusing the term, the concept.
That's a misuse.
Yes, indeed.
Because I mean, you talked on this some time ago, and we did follow up, speaking to some combatants, some of these areas that are heavily affected with this, and what some of them tell us is very concerning, because they say part of the APC, or some of the APC, if not most of the APC that they are using in the front lines, was the one that was procured in, I think, 80s by the then President Sheikh Shagari. I said, well, how true it is, we've not gone there to see. And then they say, I think it was, we also picked up that, I think it was the Special Forces company that had that report. Remember before the last change of service chiefs that you had helicopters dropping certain things to the insurgents, and then some also training the insurgents. Who picked up on that? Who is investigating? Because some of these guys say, look, we have it on good authority. What are we doing with that kind of intelligence?
Yes, that's a very interesting one. And I also want to, it's exciting really, and I want to bring something, I want to relate something to this. Can we, I don't know, it's not my area of competence, can we rebase our armed forces or defense systems in this country the way we did our financial GDP and what have you? The results will shock you. And that's all I'm going to say right now.
Wow. And that speaks
in other words, conduct an audit of some sort, because I mean,
if you call it an audit,
by rebasing what I'm
if you say an audit,
if
you say an audit, you'll be diluting it. If we rebase it, what we simply do is to go see what we have and compare it with contemporary global trends what is available.
That means we're actually putting our men and women, well, I don't know.
I can tell you.
Sorry, because I'm trying to see the kind of equipment, machines, firearms, firepower, call it anything, that the insurgents are using against our men and women fighting on the side of the nation. It means we have to look towards that. That's why you're saying that we should, if we carry out a kind of audit or assessment, or they will be shocked. It means that we have some obsolete equipment or ammunition.
You may not be small weapon savvy, but it's open, it's out there. We really don't need to deny anything. There are weapons in use by our security agencies that were last used during the Second World War. I won't mention some of these weapons, but they're there, we see them every day. To the average Nigerian who is not a security operative or a soldier,
wouldn't know.
He sees a rifle. Most people call them guns, but they're actually rifles. They're not guns. And for him, a rifle is a rifle is a rifle. But you see, these weapons have their capacity, they have their characteristics, and they also have their weaknesses.
You know what comes to mind again is the statement of the Borno State Governor when he was getting really, worked up, when he said that they're better armed, they're better motivated than our own security agencies. Should we be going back to revisit such statements, or should we be going back to really look at that, whether or not we can improve the situation of our own men?
Going back has always been one thing I will encourage our security agencies and governments to do. We can learn from the past. Is the only thing we really do have. And it's actually from the past, with the benefit of insight, that we can prepare for the future. Take the same Nyanya bomb blast. I want to believe if we had picked strong lessons from Kano, we should be able to have said, to a certain degree, that place was an accident waiting to happen. I will tell you why. If I had the opportunity to have been in Kano, I should have been able to know that these people seem to favor places that are highly populated, where there is density, where there is
soft targets.
Congestion, exactly. Because people are congested, because there is no order, a very little amount of explosives will do gross damage. Okay? So you find out that when you look at a place, you simply try across board, across the country, to begin to see where do we have parks that share the same similarities with the one in Kano.
They're all over the country.
All over the country. So what can we do? Can we begin to bring the NURTW bosses together? Do these car parks have chief security officers? If they don't, I can give them a list of over 100 they will employ immediately to start work. I know them. They are waiting. They are idle. If they don't have CCTVs, what can you do about it? They make money every day. They don't have to do it that same day, but it can be done gradually. And before you know it, you are tracking performance. You are doing a lot of training and retraining.
This is where local governments, councillors, state governments, everyone has got to be involved. This one. It shouldn't just be at the
you
presidency.
spoke about the NSA, the DMI, the DIA. The NSA itself is meant to be a security engineer. Today we see the NSA focusing, on what is happening terrorism-wise. The NSA needs to actually take a more holistic approach. The NSA is actually one big tall order of a task. The NSA should be looking at being the national devil's advocate. Who is the national devil's advocate? The NSA can sit down and do a report on the agri sector and tell Mr. President we're looking at a food crisis based on meteorological reports. And that will bring about these security issues for us if we don't do something now.
Remember meritocracy.
Exactly, meritocracy. We're also looking at the NSA that could sit down and look at the education sector, say, Mr. President, the children have been at home for 6 months. No, this is a security crisis waiting to happen. They could be bankrolled by you know who. So the NSA itself is meant to be a think tank republic of people, of erudite professionals. It's not all about force, tactics. No, we're going to be bringing people in from the health sector. The NSA can do a security report and say, look, the rate at which mothers are dying, there may not be women left to have babies anymore in 10 years' time. So there's a health security risk, or there's a health security problem. There's a food security problem. There's an education security problem. So national security should be robust, rounded. And those who are handling whatever the NSA has to advise the presidency to do on this particular aspect of terrorism too have to be people that are capable of imagination, people that are innovative, and people that have been in there long enough to see it clearly without sentiments and all the, you know, differences we've seen in the last 24 hours. I heard people saying divergent things, people trading blames. That's not the issue. Malaysia lost an aircraft. Malaysia is predominantly Muslim, but the world has come together to look for that aircraft, regardless of politics, religion.
That's
language.
what we need to do.
That's what we need to do.